Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Bucks lose it out in Utah tonight, 123-108, blowing a 19-point lead. I mean, they were up 12 going into the fourth quarter. You thought the Bucks had this thing under control, and they do not. They lose it 123-108. Come on in the room. Doc is our doctor. He writes out all of our scripts. He gives us our medicine in our room. Bucks losing 123-108 tonight. We are live. It's the Cream City crossover. The Guru, Trey Crosby III.
JT.
Chris King.
Yes, sir. All in the building. Again, an epic collapse, a beat down of epic proportions in the final frame. The Bucks. My goodness. 40-13. The fourth quarter was the Utah Jazz and the Milwaukee Bucks. 40-13. So they absolutely got taken out to the woodshed and beat down there in the fourth. So interested to hear what Doc is going to have to say at the podium. But tonight, just again, they're on a back-to-back. So, that sometimes those things happen. 123-108. Let's get into it. Let's do our first off, you can also get your comments in at TCIIIESQ or in the YouTube chat. Also, I think the Twitter chat lets you do it now as well. Let's do our game recap. The game recap is always sponsored by the law office of Daily M. Johnson. When you need defense, where?
Off the court.
And the Bucks played some decent defense for three quarters. I mean, the totals were 32, the first 32, the second 21, third 30. If you could have kind of held them there, you've been all right. But you give up 40 in the fourth. And listen, you got to run through the tape, not to the tape. Game recap, the law office of Daily M. Johnson, Service Central and South Central, Wisconsin, giving you what you need in criminal defense, trafficking, OWI defense, temporary restraining orders, and injunctions. Call my guy, Daily M. Johnson, 608-893-8370. Go to his website, www.dmjlaw.com. Sign up there for a free phone or in-person consultation. That is the law office of Daily M. Johnson. And let's go through the box score tonight. Game recap. Giannis did all he could do, 33 and 13 after playing 40 minutes last night and getting a dub. He goes 33, 13, and 7 tonight. 11 and 15 from the field, 11 and 15 from the free-throw line. He does what you asked him to do. He does have 5 turnovers, but I think a couple of those were some charges. But Giannis, again, a model of consistency. If only we could get another guy that's a superstar to do the exact same thing. But
Allegedly.
instead, hot take city. Instead, we get Dame Dollar going 12 points, 6 assists. He's 5 of 18 from the line. After going, 10 of 11 last night? Puts up 30 points on 11 shots tonight. He puts up 12 points on 18 shots. Again, if you're not starting to get concerned, that's on you. He was 1 of 8 from 3. We could talk about, we think he's going to pull it together at the end of the year. But that is, at this point, that is a hope. We are hoping that's going to happen because he has not shown that he can consistently be that guy for the Milwaukee Bucks. He just has not done it. He's done a lot. Again, I'm not going to say he's done a lot for gravity, and I'm talking about putting points up on the board on a consistent basis and doing it efficiently. He has not done it. I believe. I'll go to some stats some more in a second. Malik Beasley, 16 points tonight, 6 of 8, 4 of 6 from 3. Beasley did his job. Bobby Porter's 27 and 7 tonight. Jay Crowder had a rough night. He played 40 minutes, 6 points for Jay Crowder. Again, the Bucks are missing Brook Lopez still with the birth of his child, so congratulations to him. And then Chris Middleton, of course, on back-to-back, did not play tonight. AJ Green came in the game like a flamethrower. 10 points. He was 3 for 6. I think all of his threes probably came in the first half, but 10 points, 5 boards. He gave a good 22 minutes there. The Bucks, I believe, were I think when he was in there, were like plus 17, and then he finishes the game plus 3. So I'll let you know how the rest of his night went. Pat Connaughton, get this man out of Milwaukee. That's all I can say. I want him out of Milwaukee quick, fast, and in a hurry. I'm tired of seeing him, tired of looking at him. He scores 1 point in 18 minutes. So he had 1 point than all of us up here and everybody listening and watching. Campaign with 3 points. And then you look to the other side, and it's the Utah Jazz, who, the Bucks had bottled them up pretty decent for 3 quarters, and that fourth just went insane. 21 from Marketing, 15 and 10 from John Collins. Colin Sexton gives you 19 points. Chris Dunn. So a lot of people talk about Chris Dunn maybe being a guy that the Bucks could use. I'm okay. He looked trash to me. Walker Kessler had a good night, 13 and 8. Keontae George 19 and 10, so he played really well. Jordan Clarkson didn't score until the third quarter, but he went 12 and 5, and then Kelly Olynyk at 8, 7 and 6. Just all around well-rounded game for him. He's a little dirty, but that's neither here nor there. What did I see tonight, JT? Again, to me, it was the play of Damian Lillard. Like that's where this loss took place. So a couple things, your defense, it's and again, I want to say you're on a back-to-back, you're shorthanded, but you did go up 19, and all you gotta do is just close this thing out. Just close it out, and you'll be okay. And you're thinking maybe that dunk at the end of the third was gonna get Dame, going and get him in gear, and it just did not. And listen, with two guys out on a back-to-back, some people use that as excuses as to why why it's a tough game to win, why you may lose the basketball game, and I get some of that. But the Milwaukee Bucks were in a position to finish and close out the basketball game, and they just didn't and could not do it. And Damian Lillard was a big part of that. You cannot sustain all those circumstances on a back-to-back and having guys out at elevation. You can't sustain it if your superstars don't play like superstars. And again, they did it for 36 minutes, and they couldn't do it for 48. And so, I'm not blaming the loss entirely on Damian Lillard. Of course, the Bucks defense could have been much better. You were up 12, but that meant you could only give up, if you only scored 13, you could have only given up to win the game. You'd only been able to give up 24 points, and that probably wasn't realistic anyway. So the Bucks offense went into a hole in the fourth quarter, and that goes pretty much everybody in throughout the entire game. I think Giannis had, maybe only scored a couple points in the fourth. It was just bad. It was bad. But again, everything starts and stops. I saw people talking about you got to trade this guy, trade this guy. Starts and stops with zero. Like your stars are the ones that get held accountable. And I don't want to blame everything on Damian Lillard. But it seems, every time you look at the losses, you start looking down the stat line, you just watch the game and go, well, Dame probably had a bad night when they lose. He had 3 turnovers as well. So again, 123, 108, Bucks losing on the road in Utah. That's what I saw. JT, what'd you see?
Man, it looked a little shaky in the first half, a little while, but I want to go ahead and give my man Derry Bird. Got to give my man Derry Bird. Let's start with the good, right? I love seeing Derry Bird pull that thing up from damn near the logo and hit it. Derry Bird said, "Listen, I'm staying in Milwaukee. My address is gonna be 53202 or somewhere around 53206. One of them zip codes is gonna be there, through at least the rest of the season. So I love that. I love it. The Bucks came out the first half. I thought they were fine. I was really impressed with the third quarter. I want to say with the Bucks 6 for 10 for 3 in the third quarter, something like that, right? It was a very explosive quarter, and then that fourth quarter hit. That fourth quarter is by far the worst quarter of basketball this Bucks team has played all year. They scored 13 points to close this thing. 13 points. And not only gave up a lead, but I'm pretty sure the lead they gave up was more than the points they actually scored in the quarter, which, man, that is bad. That is always just bad territory to be in. Look, shout out to Bobby, right? Because Bobby's been all over the place, but tonight he showed up. Tonight he showed up, right? 27 and 7, 11-20 from field, 4 for 7 from 3. Listen, right? When you got starters and you got guys out and you got 2 of your better shooters on this team out, somebody's got to step in and kind of get the gap there. And you know what? I'm going to give Bobby that credit because he deserves it, man. So, yeah, one time for Bobby. Another guy, Malik Beasley. He'd been stinking it up recently from a shooting perspective. It just hadn't been where we had seen it earlier this year. Malik Beasley tonight goes 6 for 8, 4 for 6 from 3, right? 16, 3 and 2. I'll take it, right? Because, again, you're stepping up, right? You're stepping up when guys are out. Side note, you guys know right now the Bucks got 3 guys shooting above 40% from 3. Y'all know who they are?
I'm assuming Malik Beasley, AJ Green, and above 40%.
Brooke.
I don't think Brooke has he shot 40%.
Campaign is your third.
Yeah.
Funny thing is they're all separated by increments of 2, right? Campaign shooting like right in between 40 to 41%. Derry Bird shooting at 42%, and then Malik Beasley shooting almost 45% as well. That's going into this game, but this is just rough, man. This is rough. You're blowing leads the way it went down. The fact that this team just kind of, I don't even know how much it was. They just gave up versus them legs was shot. I don't know what it was, but I mean, they just ran out of gas, right? Like you said, you got to run through the tape, not to the tape. They didn't run to the tape. They just stopped, right? It's like them old, what was it, like Powerade commercials, the Don't Bonk or whatever it was, and they just or Dame, like, somebody got a Gatorade commercial now where people are just like stopping short of where was it? Does Dame had a commercial with a Gatorade commercial where the people were like stopping short of their goal because they're not hydrated or whatever? Either way, that's pretty much what happened to the Bucks, man. And I'm a reserve comment on Dame because I know he's got a different segment, but this was ugly, and I'm going to chalk it up to people being tired. The back-to-backs, taking their court. The Bucks have a ton of back-to-backs in the last few weeks, but this is rough. You can't let this happen consistently.
Yeah, this sucks. I mean, they played kind of the opposite of what they've been doing all season is, not starting off strong, but then, killing in the fourth quarter and being that clutch team that we always look to. And they were just not that tonight. Some guys stepped up for Utah when things got tough. I mean, Jordan Clarkson, he was phenomenal. I thought obviously he didn't score the ball that much, but him and Walker Kessler in that two-man, we just didn't have an answer. And I think part of that obviously is not having the presence of Brook in the lineup. But, man, guys were just lazy on closeouts. Guys were over-helping when Jordan Clarkson would drive by their defender. So you saw some defensive lapses in this fourth quarter that really led to some open looks from Utah. And I thought, man, we just missed wide open shots in that fourth quarter. Like, I know Malik Beasley shot 4 of 6, but he had 2 that were just wide, naked, open, and he just missed it. Jay Crowder, same thing. So Bobby, same thing. It's just an unfortunate fourth quarter. And, credit to Utah for battling back. And then once they had the momentum, they took it and won the game.
Yeah, no, and yeah, Utah, they kept battling. They stay. It was always one of those games that, it seemed like the Utah just stayed around, 9, 10, 11 points down. And then the Bucks would get a surge and get to 14, 15, 16. And Utah would get it back to 11. Some timely buckets from a number of key contributors from the Utah Jazz. And then the Bucks just couldn't. That fourth quarter, they just got blitzed and ran. And I thought the only criticism of Doc I really have, because he's shorthanded tonight, so he had to rough on the rotation. I thought that maybe that Doc Rivers should have used the timeout in the fourth quarter at some point, because I thought he did a really good job going through the game of using it and trying to break the momentum, but he never really did in the fourth. I know the Bucks had 3 timeouts. Maybe he wanted to save it, his use or lose the timeout, for later into the basketball game. But, when you're getting blitzed and just beat down like that, you got to stop the bleeding or try. I don't know if it would have worked at all, but that was something he probably should have thought about. And then again, you talk about the tired legs. Well, Andre Jackson Jr. didn't play the other night. And so why didn't you maybe think to use him, especially in a game where you give up 40 points in the fourth quarter? Why don't you put him out there? Chris Livingston was there. Why don't you put him out there? Maybe those guys can muck things up and do something. But again, I'm not saying that's why the Bucks lost the basketball game, because Andre Jackson Jr. and Chris Livingston didn't play, but just some things that maybe you could have tried to slow things down. And so, but the Bucks didn't do it. They lose 123-108. The comments are going crazy on Twitter as well as the YouTube. So let's talk about a few of them here. King of Kings says Dame time. Dame time. The clock sent him to the Heat. And then John Hassel says everyone balling but Dame. John Hassel also says trade Dame. We need a point guard. Swap AJ Green for Beasley. So a lot of people are hating on Dame tonight. Duh 11 King says I'm not overreacting. Dame is past his prime. Green Ranger says that was awful. There's no other way to put it. So again, a lot of people, a lot of that is going towards Damian Lillard, and he's just going to continue to take the heat if he's going to play like this. I do want to bring attention to a couple things that happened in the game. Side note, and this is also not why the Bucks lost the basketball game. I thought the officiating was poor, and I know that because it wasn't just in the fourth when I started talking. I talked about when the Bucks were up. I was complaining about officiating all game long. And I don't necessarily think it was like one-sided against the Bucks. I thought they were poor just in general, and I do think at the end of the game, the Bucks did not benefit from the same calls Utah did. I think that the officials, for whatever reason, they called a lot of touch fouls, and then it got to the point where they had to overcorrect because they couldn't call fouls every time. So you had to kind of change things up, and it just seemed like we didn't know what was a foul versus what wasn't going to be a foul. And so again, not the reason the Bucks lost, but I was not happy with the way this game was officiated at all tonight.
I can't even get there. I'm gonna be honest. I can't even get there because, like you said, it wasn't quite. I think you tweeted. You was like, it's not quite 5 versus 8, but yes, I think there were some terrible calls here, but I can't blame the refs for this one. We beat ourselves. We beat ourselves. We stunk. The lackluster some of the adjustments. This is on everyone's shoulders. Not 34. Everybody that's not 34. 34. Derry Bird did his part, right? Bleak Beasley did his part. Bobby did his. It's on everybody else, right? And I'm quite honestly, I got to look at Doc a little bit in this one too, right? Because you saw some good and bad. You saw Doc, right, when it was in that first half when Doc called that timeout. Stuff was getting a little hectic, and it was like, all right, hold on, right, close to the end of that second quarter. You're great, right? But then the adjustments in the fourth quarter. Listen, they ran it on your head. They're killing. They got y'all spinning right now. Nobody can anything. Like you said, why don't you put why Andre Jackson not getting a look? Why I was gonna say Marjon, but he can stay there. He can stay on the bench, right? Why some of these other guys not getting? What's going on, man? But yeah, no, I can't blame the refs tonight for what went down. I gotta say that if there's a percentage of blames the refs get, it's less than 10 to me.
I did think that carry call on Giannis was a little iffy. I think that kind of sucked the momentum out of the Bucks after they kind of traded threes right there, and they were looking to answer and keep it at least respectable under 7 points, and then he calls a carry and they come down and score. So it's like that kind of takes you out of the game late in the fourth. But other than that, yeah, I mean, some blame has to go everywhere. Doc for not trying to at least make an adjustment with the fresh legs of Andre Jackson Jr., who, by the way, could probably guard Keontae George. I don't know why we let him get into a rhythm late in the game, but he was cooking. And, they just took advantage of a bad defense and a bad showing, and I guess you say tired showing.
Yeah, and again, so if there's something that I could try to chalk it up to is tired legs and showing late in the basketball game, but again, you had the game in hand. You have to play a little bit better than that. Green Ranger says, "Why didn't Giannis get free throws on the alley oop?" I agree. Again, that was just one of the things that I saw, and I was just like, I didn't understand how he didn't get free throws there. I didn't understand. Again, you saw when so. Anytime Giannis does anything, it's a charge. But then, so Colin Sexton hits Giannis in the face, and then stares him down, stands over him, and again, and if so, here's the crazy thing: is if Malik Beasley doesn't run over and knock him down after he's staring down a 2-time MVP of the NBA, a Finals NBA, an NBA champion, Giannis has been called for technical fouls for dunking and on dunks. This dude just hit him in the face and did a layup and is looking at people down on the ground. They were down like 13 at that point. And if Malik Beasley doesn't do what he does, that would have been a no call. So they ended up and that's what I meant about the officiating all night long. They had to make a call because Malik Beasley reacted. And then if you remember the start of the second half, and again, I'm with you, John. I think it was less than 10% as well. But start of the second half goes, and do you remember this when Colin Sexton, as Giannis is going up for a layup or a dunk? No, Colin Sexton was going up for a dunk over Giannis, missed the dunk, and just pulls him down. Is that a basketball act? Is that a play within the rules of the game? Like how? And so he pulls him down, and again, I love Giannis absolutely, but like I wish he would react like certain players react, because all he needed to do was react there, and they would have had to kick. Maybe they would have called a flagrant, so they wouldn't have kicked him out of the game. It wouldn't have been a second technical. But Giannis doesn't react, and they just it's just it's a common foul, and it's like dog, like somebody's got. Giannis is an 11-year vet or 10-year vet or whatever. Like dog, somebody's got to tell him he's got to start reacting. He's got to start reacting. He's got to start getting up like he wants to fight, even if you don't want to fight, because that's how you get calls in this league. Otherwise, they're just gonna let it go. And so to me, there's no reason how that was not a flagrant foul when you dunk the ball and when you're falling and you pull down another 2-time MVP. So I thought Colin Sexton was just some Bush League antics from him all night long. But again, the officials let him do it, so why not? If you can get away with it, why not keep doing it?
Yeah, and side note, I'm glad we slowed him down. I think Colin Sexton had like 15 in the first half. He finished the game with 19. Um, but yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I thought he was doing some bush league stuff. I would have liked it if guys would have gotten his face. Kind of, somebody would have played enforcer. Maybe Crowder, maybe somebody else kind of did that to let him know this doesn't rock. But um, I do think that you're right. But here's the question I do have: if the league protects its superstars, why don't nobody protect Giannis like that? Like, why don't nobody, like, I don't understand this, right? Like, I think we've established Giannis is a superstar. There's no question about that. That's indisputable, right? So, like, why you not? I don't understand why he's not getting the protect. I don't know. Maybe Doc needs to call Adam Silver. I don't know. Maybe somebody needs to talk about this in the offseason. But this is a little ridiculous, some of the stuff that Giannis goes through with no call.
Yeah, I mean, Colin Sexton has been doing this for a couple games in a row now. I don't know what's gotten into him. All of a sudden, he's just thinking he's hot shit for whatever reason. But, he didn't even get to close out the game tonight. So, I mean, that just shows hopefully the Bucks didn't let that get to him. But they did get some momentum off of that. I can't lie. He was doing all the extra stuff, tying his shorts up, getting in Malik Beasley's face. And then, I think they cut the deficit to about, 11 and a half or 12 or something like that. So, yeah, it did have some momentum there.
And low-key, Beasley not the one to play with. Y'all know that, right? Like, Beasley not the one to play with.
I don't know.
I didn't know that.
Look, I'm gonna send y'all an article on Malik Beasley. Like,
yeah.
He ain't the one to play with.
That man served some time. Yeah, yes,
right,
he did. I remember.
I got that thing on me, and I'll let it off if I need to. Right, that's what I'm saying. Beasley ain't the one to play with. All right, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, well, like I said, you gotta let them hands fly in the rings. They ain't got no thing on you, so you gotta let them let them hands fly. See what that working with. Because Colin Sexton definitely could have got put. Colin Sexton. The reason I don't like it. I don't like that rat tail he got either, man. Man, get at it. I just can't stand looking at Colin Sexton, man. I don't like him. I haven't liked him since he was in Cleveland. And then King of Kings says Bucks need a guy like Sexton. Well, he was rumored to the Bucks for a while. And you're right. He actually probably would be good on the Bucks. I just don't like looking at him. Kyler Racine says, I don't want to hear a damn word about it being a back-to-back and tired after he crushed Boston for not giving any effort on a back-to-back. So Kyler Racine, yes, but no. The difference was, and again, there's nothing wrong with losing on a back-to-back. There's nothing wrong. The difference is the Bucks did give an effort. The difference is Doc didn't say at the beginning of the third quarter, what was it with Bob? Like that, get in the third quarter, take everybody out. We're done. We're on a back to back and getting blown out by 40. Like that. That's the difference. No, you can be we crushed Boston because Boston and the Boston faithful pretended like you could not be competitive on a back to back. That's a little bit of the difference as well here. Q says we're missing two starters and it's a back to back. And you're surprised we lost gas in the fourth. Are we watching the same sport? No, and Q, I don't disagree with you either. You did lose, but losing gas is losing gas is one thing. Getting boat race 40-13 is another. Like if it had been a close nip tuck game all game long, and you lose it close because you ran out of gas sure, I give you that. But no. The Bucks didn't lose gas. They didn't run out of gas. Well, I guess that is the same thing as run out of gas. But usually when you run out of gas, you kind of sputter. And no, the Bucks, it was almost like they didn't even know the E line was there. They weren't even looking at where they was at, and all of a sudden they was just on E. But again, I just think that's a very convenient excuse to make that it was back to back. We had a gas. No, you had to lead. You didn't get beat down all game long. You had to lead.
Agree with that. Man. Oh, I can't. Yeah, nah. The back to back because the thing is. I think you would have seen that show a little bit earlier if they were just completely gassed and fatigued. They were right in position to win this game. They were 100% in position to win this game, right? And I think they did run out of gas towards the end, but there was a lot of factors in there that had a lot more to do with fatigue than that. So I can't. I can't.
And on top of that, JT, so some of the guys. So if you want to say people ran out of gas, that's fine. So Dame just didn't start with nothing in the tank. Dame started on E from the beginning. Everybody else went after the game last night and refueled and got fueled up. Well, Dame just said, "Nah, we good. We're gonna run on E all night." And so he was on E from the beginning of the game. And again, I think people act as if we're being hard on Damian Lillard and evaluating what I saw. Like I can't. What do you want me to say? Oh, he played great. What do you want me? Well, Dame was. I can't do that. He was not good
Let
tonight.
me
There's no metric that he was good. He wasn't good.
let me clarify something, right? Like, because I just want to be 100% clear to listeners and everybody else. People think we're being hard on Dame, right? And we 100% are being hard on Dame, and here's why. From January 17th, what's Dame go? 7 for 20. Here we go. January 22nd, what's Dame go? 4 for 15. January 26th, versus Cleveland, what's Dame go? 7 for 24. January 29th versus Denver, what's Dame go? 5 for 13. January 31st, Dame goes 9 for 23. February 4th tonight, Dame goes 5 for 18. Listen, the only reason we being hard on Dame is because we were told he was a superstar. I was told that Dame was an 8-time All-Star, 7-time first-team All-NBA, one of the top 75 players that we had seen. Damian Lillard was absolutely this tremendous, fabulous, magnificent player from Portland, one of the best we've ever seen basketball. And I'm not disputing that. But if he is, where's that Dame at? Where's that at? Right? Oh, I get it. He is an all-star starter. He's still scoring 20. I understand that, right? And I'm not disputing that with y'all. I'm agreeing with y'all. But show me the Hall of Famer, right? Show me the guy who's supposed to be one of the best point guards this league has ever seen. Show me one of the top 75 players all time. And if you can show me that guy, show him to me consistently, because he's not showing up. I don't know, right? Unless somebody wants to pull some sort of strange advanced metric and somebody wants to throw something out there like, oh, see, you basically, unless you want to show me data points to tell me that what we see is not real and something else is different. Listen, I just, where's Dame? Thank you. Where's he at? Where's it? Bro, is that a bank envelope? Is that a bill envelope? Is that an envelope with bill?
What is this? I don't know what this is.
Electric, got the light bill payment in there.
It might be a bill in here. That's what we trying to figure out. Where is he?
Where's he at?
Where is he?
That's my whole thing. Where's he at? Because right now, I'm just gonna tell you, man. And I hate that we're here. This year, Dame's not a superstar. He's not.
Oh, he's not.
Year, we called him Batman and Superman. This year, he Clark Kent working at what's that joint? The Metropolis? What's the newspaper Clark Kent used to work at when he was a journalist? Writing a little whatever. Yeah, that's who he at. Yeah, nah, Superman. That suit ain't even on him. Right. He can't even run in the phone booth. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's not what we're seeing at this point with Dame. So yeah, no, we can keep it a buck. Hell yeah, we being hard because we feel like we're getting fleeced right now.
Yeah.
And I understand that, like, we care about the playoffs and we care about this, we care about that. But the people who are saying that, y'all relying a whole lot more on how he looked in Portland and hope versus reality of where he's at right now. Like, I just don't understand how somebody could legitimately say, yeah, they're 100% confident in Dame based off of what they've seen at this point this year with the Bucks.
Well, and I feel like part of this big collapse was his fault. Like, when you talk about all the hype that the fourth quarter is supposed to be when he takes over and it's Dame time and this and that, and then he just folds down the stretch. And then it's just like, all right, so that's another thing that people hyped up that we're not getting. So it's all this great stuff about Dame, all unicorns and rainbows. Then he gets here, and this is a game where you're up double digits going into the fourth, and you get absolutely destroyed in the fourth quarter. And you had missed shots, you had turnovers from Dame. It was just all bad.
Q says, so Q's been Dame apologizing all through the chat here. He says, Q says Dame had a sprained ankle. Chill, guys. Dame played because the game hurt because Chris and Brook were out. I'm thankful he played. So here's the thing, Q, and I'm not, but here's the thing. Do we realize how, again, the excuse train that Damian Lillard, and I don't think Dame has made this, but it's really Damian Lillard, the fan base, the Dame stands. Remember, beginning of the year. Well, Giannis is a ball hog. Well, they got me standing in the corner. Well, it's the coach. It's the offense. I got to have the ball at all times. Chris Middleton's hogging the ball. Why don't I have the ball? Brook Lopez is shooting too many shots. Bobby Portis is shooting too many shots. The coach is up. We don't find Dave. We get rid of the coach for you. Oh, well, we got a new coach now. Still same thing. Same thing's happening. Well, you know what? I am going. Let me put it out there. I'm going through a divorce. This is hard for me. Going through a divorce, the kid, I can't do it. Now tonight it's a sprain. Then you ball out, put up 30. Now it's a sprain. I'm just asking, how many excuses have we heard for why Damian Lillard has not performed through 50 games almost? Every night, I just went, there's like 6. That's like 7 excuses. And again, I say it, we, like you said, JT and Chris, we are hard on Damian Lillard. Why? Because this is what we were promised. We were promised a superstar. And I hold superstars to a higher standard. You notice AJ Green played bad in the second half. I'm not about to cry about AJ Green. I don't expect AJ Green. He gave me probably like 10 or so in the first half. I don't expect him to give me 20. I'm thankful for the 10. Bobby Portis had a big first half, and it was kind of sputtered down the end. I'm not mad at Bobby because I know what Bobby Portis. I can't sit here and be mad at that. I know what he is. Campaign, Jay Crowder. I'm not expecting certain. So when I expect things out of you and you don't deliver, those are the people I'm upset at. So when I look and I go, okay, what do I expect Hall of Fame performances from two guys on a nightly basis, Giannis and Dame. And tonight I look at Giannis and what did he give me? He gave me 33, 13, and 7. I'll take that. That's why I don't have anything. And Giannis sputtered a little bit down the stretch, but I can handle that. You give me a stat line like that, I don't say anything about you. We lose, we'll figure out a way to talk about what happened. But tonight he was not good enough. That was the problem. You guys give me some. What else you got? And then I'll read some Twitter thoughts here. Because again, Twitter was very hard. Twitter was harsher than I'm being right now than we've been tonight on Damian Lillard. And I think some of the quotes and comments are going to surprise you here. Maybe.
Well, I think that the thing is that I just think generally as we as Bucks fans, we think, hey, Giannis and Dame playing? Oh, we good, right? We knew Brooke was out. We knew Chris was out, but we figured, hey, we're going to be all right, right? And for most of this game, it looked like, yeah, we just going to be just fine, right? I had no idea that we was going to lose to a team that's 25 and 26 by 15, right? And melting down completely. A team that's going to come back down from double digits in the fourth quarter to beat us by double digits. Yo, like I would have never guessed that that would have been the case if our two guys is playing. And I get it. It's back-to-backs. Maybe they're a little tired. Giannis had, damn near 50 points last night. So I understand that. But he was able to show up and still give a very strong performance for this team. It's not good enough for Dame Lillard just to show up for work. And right now, when you show up shooting 5 for 18, right, and you're talking about, yeah, my head ain't right. I ain't never been away from my kids and my family and everything else. Like, yeah, okay, come on, man. You're professional. You're professional, and you're not a rookie. I can understand if you was a second-year player and you had been in the league a couple of years and everything fell apart. But like you said in the quote, I'm not 21. We know you're not 21. We expect a different level of maturity. Like, you've been through some things. So I don't know, man. Look, I'm a Damian Lillard fan. I want to see him play well. I hope we don't think about trading him. I hope we give this thing a shot. But Dame's got to show up for Dame. And that's the problem here, right? Dame has to show up for Dame. Dame is not consistently showing up. Not in the way that we're accustomed to, not in the way he knows he can play. I mean, if you told me this guy was a 7-time All-NBA based on his play, I'd be like, yeah, right. Get out of here, right? I think 7 times. He's been first-team All-NBA once. I think he's been like second team 4 times and, third team twice or something like that. And let me just ask y'all this quick question right here. Is Jason Tatum a superstar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Jason Tatum's a superstar. I just wanted to ask that question because we had that debate last year. But we gonna go ahead and say Jason Tatum's a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna just tell you like that because that resume is coming from Dame. I'm just saying. Like, look at his resume. Look at Jason resume. Listen.
Hang on. No, John, hold on. You're double. You hearing that too, Chris?
Yeah, there's like a little
okay,
echo.
so I think we have an echo.
But no, I can just jump in real quick. I also want to just address a comment that I saw. The Q had said something about how we got to chill because it's a regular season and we had injuries. Well, where was that empathy for Adrian Griffin when he's barely beating the Pistons?
Right.
And that is just a regular season game and guys are out. So I can't get with that argument. That's just stupid. We expect more from this team. John Horst expects more from this team. As we see, he's quick to take action. So yeah. And then I saw another thing too. I'm gonna allow you to read that. But and then the last thing I want to say, people last night were talking about how Brooke, the defense is better with Brooke. That ain't it. That's cap. That's cap because Walker Kessler was barbecue chicken tonight in the 2-man game with Clarkson, and we saw that down the stretch. They went to it a lot. Kelly Olynyk also torched the Jay Crowder matchup. So yeah, you need a big presence like Brooke all the time.
Jameson Terrio 12. Says Steph's wife asked for a poly relationship and still won the chip that year. 2022, Steph ain't make no excuses.
Which, by the way, y'all know Steph Curry is Lindsay Lohan's kid's godfather. Like,
I did not know that.
They're his kid's godparents. Yeah, Steph Curry, Isha Curry, and Lindsay Lohan, which is a hell of a combination. But Jameson might have the comment of the night.
Yeah, and I did not know that. That's actually that's hilarious though. At It's J Will said missing 2 starters on a back-to-back in altitude. Just ran out of gas in the fourth. Jazz went big. Bucks had no counter without Brook for size or legs for speed. That sounds like an excuse. Jay Wills at He Manson says, I don't understand why Pat keeps getting these minutes. He's an absolute train wreck and embarrassment. It's been like this all year. Are the coaches blind? What the hell does it take to get this guy out of the lineup? Marjan or Ajax would be better than having Mr. Flyby fumble hands. Also, Dame has turned Dame has turned into that girl that looks good when she wears that certain outfit you only see once in a while. The rest of the time, she's really mid.
So basically, he's saying Dame is that girl with Spanx on. You know, they got the little Spanx, got the little built-in spandex or whatever to the outfit, right? But then most of the time, she rock a dress, she good, but she throws some jeans on. You like, nah, bro. Like, basically, what we call that false advertising? Yeah, deceptive advertising. You know, there's state laws against that. Y'all be careful up there.
You killing me, dog.
Sunday night, baby.
At Todd Merrill says, seriously, we'll be surprised if Dame is on the team past Thursday. Let's fleece someone else and get some assets back.
Right. Please
trade Dame. No amount of coaching can cover up unless he's putting up 35 a night. Cut your losses before it's too late. At Justin from NC says, tough loss. Just keep these guys healthy and get ready for Phoenix. Giannis left early because it was so much bogus stuff in the fourth quarter. Just mad at the whole thing. Utah is weak. And then at Cooley Rock says, I'm not too pressed about this L. Bucks ran out of steam. Utah couldn't miss, and the referees were very questionable. And then D-Spone 388 says, a myriad of things went wrong in the fourth. Refs missed shots, but ultimately it boils down to 0. His constant nights of inefficient offense really make it so much harder to win. Not the guy we traded for right now. That's evident. We'll be more concerned after the break. So again, just a lot of talk about Damian Lillard and some of the things that went on and just how he played. I mean, he again, to me, if you were to assign blame for tonight, I would probably say I would probably blame 30% on it being a back-to-back. Maybe I blame 35% on it being a back-to-back, and I blame the other 65% on just Damian Lillard not playing well. Because, again, the back-to-back didn't mean – if Damian Lillard shot just – so he averages, 25 or something, right? Mm-hmm. If he just gave me 20 points tonight, the Bucks win the game. Right, well, that's 8, so he probably need – but, again, the timely Buck – if they had been more timely, if he gave me 20 points on even maybe 40%, a tad under 40% shooting, the Bucks probably win the basketball game. And he just didn't do it. He couldn't do it tonight. So the Bucks were not victorious. I want to ask you this, Chris and JT. Do you think? So we talked about last night. Maybe it being a catalyst for the Bucks and what they had going. They're 33-17 right now. They have the Phoenix. So I want to look because coming up, the Bucks do have the Phoenix Suns on Tuesday. And then they have the T-Wolves on Thursday. So again, to finish up this two very tough games against quality opponents. How big and again the 8th is also that the game is Timberwolves on the 8th is the trade deadline. How big is that game against Phoenix? Do you think that John Horst will be watching that Phoenix game and will be making final decisions on who to trade that night? Does he already have this stuff already in mind? Or what do you think this game against Phoenix means, given that the Bucks on this road trip lost to Portland, lost to Denver? You thought maybe they could salvage this thing if after winning last night, and then you come back tonight and you drop one against Utah. I think everybody would have felt much better going into Phoenix if that had taken place. Where are your thoughts now on the road trip and all of that I just kind of threw at you there?
This road trip is absolutely stunk. Doc went 1-3, and we've seen some of the worst basketball we've seen the squad play. I mean, again, we saw the worst first quarter we've seen all season this week, and then we saw the worst fourth quarter we've seen all season. If I'm John Horst, my mind's already made up. There's nothing you can do to say. There's nothing you can do. This may have been the last game, but I don't really think the Phoenix game matters at this point. I think it's really about who can we get versus who we got to give up. And I was hoping that Pat would establish some sort of trade value, but it feels like the more we play Pat, the more we devalue him. right? The more like the less value he actually has to a team, the more we play Pat. Like I don't know, man. I just don't think anybody can really help themselves at this point, right? I mean, I don't know, maybe Larry Bird, right? Maybe he helped himself. People saw, okay, wow, this guy can shoot, but he's been a 42% 3-point shooter his entire career. So I'm not sure anybody helped the case.
Hey, Jake, check your phone, JT. Chris, what do you think on all that?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that there's no way you can watch this basketball team at this point in the season and say there's just no need to make a move. Yeah, there's no way John Horst is thinking that. So regardless of what happens, you just kind of have to wonder, like, they're probably already having some moves in place. They probably got some things going for them that they want to do, and some guys, some targets. But it's all about, like, who has really shown enough for you to get those trades off. And so whether you're riding some highs with Bobby right now, he's had a couple good games in a row, or you just see who bites the hook on a guy like Pat. So I don't know, man. I just think that this Suns game isn't all that important to the trade deadline. I think that if you're going to make a move, they already know who's going and who's staying.
So Snakey973 says he agrees about trading Dame and says trade Dame for someone more consistent, even if they are less flashy, someone who can get us 20 and play defense. And I mean, I just don't. I don't think you can do that. Again, so as much as I'm talking about Damian Lillard, you can't trade him right now. And and that's why I was so against. And it might end up working out, but again, I was so against blowing up, getting rid of Doc Rivers. Getting rid of Adrian Griffin, because you can't make these huge, big trades and these big stuff mid-season and think that it's going to work out immediately. Like, that's not how this game is played. You're not just going to bring in another quote-unquote star or someone, star-adjacent guy next to Giannis in freaking January, in February, and think that this is gonna push them into a title. I promise you, I assure you, it is not. So the best thing here is to stay the course. You've already made a huge adjustment in season already. You can't do another one again. You can flip the bench, you can flip the guys that aren't important, but again, you can't trade somebody right now like a Brook, like a Chris, like a Damian Lillard. You can't do that. It's too much turbulence with your basketball team. And again, you've been in planes. Planes can handle some types of turbulence. And again, and they are very well made structures and objects, right? But there comes a point. I watch these little plane these documentaries where the planes crash, and even though I fly semi regularly, but I still like to watch them. I don't know why, but it's like there comes a point where you stall out, and the pilot, you can't get that plane back once it go there. Because I don't think people know how many, I don't want to say near disasters that people go through, but pilots are very well trained to get planes back, even when it looks like they're at the point of no return. But there is a point of no return. And when you stall out, you can lose everything. And again, maybe I think you can get it back with the firing of Adrian Griffin, because because you're going to get the locker room buy-in of a Doc Rivers. So you can but that is a rocky thing to do. You're not going to trade Damian Lillard in the middle of the season and think that this thing is going to turn around. I don't care who you get back. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm a little shaken up by the plane analogy. Like, come on, man. Like, what? Like,
dark. That's what Trey does in his free time, I guess.
Speaking of, have you seen the new what's that movie on Netflix? The plane that went down, they was eating each other.
The short answer is no. Hell no.
You ain't seen that?
I saw it.
Why would I watch that?
Come on.
In the mountains. They was in the mountains with it, eating each other.
And they was talking all Spanish.
Yeah, I still watch it.
That was fire.
What's wrong with y'all? Everything on Netflix ain't there to be watched. What are y'all doing? What's wrong with y'all?
It was top 10, bro. Everybody's watching it. That is my top 10. I'm watching.
Somebody in the chat, tell me what was that movie called? Chris, you know? Somebody in the chat, tell me what that movie was called. They was in the mountains. They were like a Venezuelan soccer team, and they ended up eating each other. Rugby team. They ended up eating each other in the mountains. They were stuck there for like 90 days. True story too, JT, from back in the 70s.
Let me tell you something.
True story.
That's like, is that the show? Is that
Showtime,
actually?
No, it's
No.
Netflix. I know because I just watched it.
I've heard about this mess. I'm not watching it. And listen, man, if you're in the middle of the forest, man, you better find you some berries. You better figure this thing out, right?
They wasn't in the forest. They was in the mountain. No, they
Mountains,
was in the
cold,
snow caps.
avalanche.
In the Aldi's. Is the Aldi's?
Yeah,
the Aldi's?
Aldi's, something like that.
Yeah,
Aldi's,
come on, JT. You had to eat somebody. You had to eat them.
Listen,
Adrian Griffin getting ate right now.
you better find
Hey,
you a
hold
little,
on.
little
Hey,
mountain rabbit or something.
That one was bad.
Hey, that is the pause of the.
All right. Wait, so how does this tie into the Bucks?
My point is their plane stalled out and the pilots couldn't get it back.
City
You
of
cannot
Snow.
trade Damian Lillard. I don't know how I made the analogy, but you know what I'm saying. You can't trade him. One Punch Man, thank you. He said City of Snow. It was called City of Snow.
I don't know if it was City of Snow. I don't think so.
One punch. Oh, so now what? Come on, One Punch. It's Society of Snow. Come on, One Punch.
Yeah.
There you go. That was it.
Maybe it's
Society
autocorrect.
Listen, I agree with you that you're past the point of no return at this point because you've gone all in. You really have made, and which is why I think you have one more big swing in you at the trade deadline. You got to take another swing at this point at something, right? This trade deadline at this point with the pressure of getting rid of Adrian Griffin, you can't just go get depth guys, right? You can't just say, yeah, I just want to improve our bench. You got to go get you got to go get a hitter. You got to go get someone who I think materially can assist with altering the chemistry of this squad.
Oh, so I want to ask you a question. So let's stay there on that. So you're saying that you don't think it's enough, and this is just a question. You don't think it's enough that Doc Rivers getting control of this team and implementing the things he wants to implement. And again, he's like I said, he just had the first practice on Friday. You don't think that and incremental changes to the bench, maybe a 6-man type of guy, can impact this basketball team? You think they've got to? So basically, you're saying because the only way they can do that is if Bobby Portis. They have to use Bobby Portis as a contract to get something of legitimate value back. So you're telling me that it has to be Bobby Portis, Pat Marjan, some kind of trade like that that's going to try and get the most back. It can't just be something incremental.
No, and here's why. Listen, this team, is it good enough to win a championship? Maybe. 100%, maybe. Right? If they're playing, I take it back. If they're playing at their best, absolutely, they can win, right? But I think the practical reality is that with all the moves you've already made of going all in, if you got another move you can make at this point to go all in and try to get and try to make this thing happen, you do it, right? I don't think you're done making moves at this point because that doesn't quite jive with what you've done over the last 6 months, right? Like you went out, you got Dame. You went out, you hired Giannis's guy. You went out, you got rid of Giannis's guy. You went out, you hired Doc. You went out, you hired Doc mid-season for him to come take over, right? And for him to coach the team 2 games before he even practices with the team. Like, you've already made these seismic moves. So, yeah, looking at what you've done already at this point, if you got another move to make, it's got to be a big one. You can't just go get a couple depth guys and go, yeah, this will be okay. Like, nah, like you said, the point of no return. You all in now.
Yeah, you can't.
Chips in the middle of the table.
You can't go get a Serge Ibaka. We saw how that experiment worked out. But so I don't know. He was awful. I think that you definitely have to make an important move and a move that will catch the attention of people around the league. Like it can't just be, they just traded some, bench players for more bench players that, maybe are inconsistent. So I think you really got to make some waves, and I think they've been rumored to be trying to do that. I mean, when you see some of the tweets that they're involved with DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, guys like that, those would be good moves. Those would be important moves. But I also think part of me thinks that this team can figure it out within itself. There's no reason for me to think that they can't. But they're just going to have to get some more consistency out of the guys that they already have and out of the guys that have basically played themselves out of being traded because they're worth nothing now. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, no, I somewhat agree. I would not be surprised if we're not able to do a lot. But again, John Horst has surprised me in the past, but I do think it's going to be a more marginal move. One of those sneaky good moves versus a big name like a DeJounte Murray or something like that. I just don't know that we're going to be able to pull it off. Again, hats off to John Horst if he's able to. I don't know that it does. Kyler Racine says Haslam has the money. Can we get one bench player that is decent? Again, this really doesn't have anything to do with Haslam having the money. This is all to do with the salary cap. Haslam having money, impacts more about, that's going into luxury tax and whatnot. But that doesn't really, when your in season salaries are already set, you got to match salaries at this point. And that was more to do with coaching that's off the books and what you want to do with that. That's having the ability to be able to fire an Adrian Griffin and pay his contract out and pay a contract of Bud out and bring in a Doc Rivers and pay him $40 million as well. But again, this is the NBA has a cap. The Bucks are strapped as far as how much they can do and what wiggle room they have, and they just don't have a lot of great. It's a top-heavy basketball team. They don't have a lot of great assets. The assets that they do have that they can really use and move are guys they got to use. They got to use Chris Middleton. They got to use Brook Lopez. And so those are the guys that really would probably pop some eyeballs as far as other teams, other GMs. And we'll see what Bobby Portis, if they want to use him, what he can fetch. And again, a guy who one of the guys who I really think it would be a good guy to look at when you want it for trading purposes, who has played his way into, hey, this is a great guy on a lower tier contract. I'll slip him in here with a Bobby Portis or something like that. AJ Green. I mean, what kind of team especially like a young team that wants to do something. Why wouldn't you want a young player? Like, look at Cleveland right now and what they're doing with Sam Merrill. And again, I say this about AJ Green because he is a very good player. He is a very good. I really think he has an opportunity to be a good player in this league. His 3-point shooting is elite, and then I don't know if you know, he's like one of the better defenders, like on the wing. Like, he's a better defender than Pat Connaughton by far. He keeps guys in front of him. Like, he does a very good job, and I just think some team could really, really use him that would want a young guy and may be interested in giving the Bucks something that they can use as well. At Drew Barringer says after they lose to Phoenix, Drew Barringer is like a known pessimist. He's a glass half empty kind of guy on Twitter. He says after they lose to Phoenix on Tuesday and have a 1-4 road trip, it'll be interesting to see what moves Horst makes. And then Freeman Flash 31 says going from Drew to Dame has left us in a defensive nightmare. Drew winning votes such as best teammate and most underrated is definitely noticed. Glaring hole in our backcourt. For Christ's sake, Keontae George got a double-double on him and Bees. He says, by the way, I love Dame. And then 14 Coco Chick says, needed Dame to be good, and he wasn't. They can't beat anyone when Giannis is the only star that shows up. Dame got outplayed by Colin Sexton. So yeah, it's just like I said, tonight was unfortunate. That's all I'll say. Tonight was unfortunate. I'm not bent out of shape. Because what the Bucks record? They're still, they are still 33 and 17, 5 games back. So I think the 1 seed is probably out of reach. You're half a game up on Cleveland, a full game up on the Knicks. This Philly is spiraling now with the latest news from Joel Embiid. So the Bucks are in a great position to be a top 3 seed in the East. I believe they'll probably end up with that 2 seed. That's where I think they're gonna finish out. But again, we talked about this so much throughout the year that we're not gonna complain until after the break, and we're gonna see all these. We're gonna wait, and so I think I want to see what happens at the deadline. I want to see what happens after the All-Star break, and once that takes place, then we'll be able to fully evaluate this team. And again, Doc Rivers is now the coach, so you got to allow him some chances to implement the things he wants to implement. I thought the Bucks played well for some stretches tonight, but they just didn't have enough to get it done. JT, Chris, some last thoughts before we get to game balls and our look around.
Man, I cannot wait for this road trip to be over. This road trip has stunk. It's absolutely stunk. You can find a lot of reasons why it stunk. We've seen it. We've seen, from lack of bench production, inconsistent play from Dame, perimeter defense. Pick a reason, pick a weakness. We have seen all of them exposed during this road trip. So I just cannot wait till this thing is over and done.
I saw some comments in the chat that kind of was talking about how we do need to get younger, and I totally agree. That's not something that we need to talk about right now, but regardless of how you finish in this playoffs, it's going to be a conversation in the offseason, and we'll have those conversations. But for right now, you just can't. You probably can't deal a Dame when you've only seen half of a season from him, and you probably do need to get younger at some point. But those conversations are to be had later.
No, I 100% agree with that, and yeah, those will happen if the Bucks flame out this year. And again, we'll have plenty of discussion to talk about it if it happens. If they flame out, everybody's going to be on the table to be talked about, including everybody but Giannis, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that includes Brook Lopez and includes Chris Middleton. Because again, wouldn't you love to have a Chris Middleton tonight? But he can't play back to backs because he's always, he's dealing with nagging injuries. And again, that's not a shot at Chris. That's just the reality of where he is as a player right now. You'd like to have a guy that you can count on and depend on, at all times. The Bucks just don't have. Chris Middleton's just not that right now. He can't be that. And hopefully it will show up in the playoffs. Let's get to at James Ontario 12 says, y'all reading the comment area online. Oh, well, I don't know if you're talking about the Twitter live, but James, I'm reading this comment live if you watching it. Yes, and I just read your comment about the pilot, Steph Curry's wife wanting to be pilot. So if you heard it, you heard me read it. So I'm just saying. Game ball tonight. You guys go first. Where do you want to go with your game balls?
I'm gonna give it. I mean, you really could just give it to Giannis every night for showing up, man. I mean, you really could. I would say Bobby, but Bobby did kind of fall apart later on in this game. But yeah, I'm gonna give mine to Giannis, man. Especially coming off last night's game. You played 40 minutes tonight, and you coming off a back-to-back, and then he put up damn near 50 points last night. Like, man, Giannis for being Mr. Consistent, and Giannis for showing up for this team every single night in the same way, being reliable. The only person on this team that is reliable, besides people that are reliably bad, Giannis.
Yeah, once you take Giannis off the board, it's kind of like, where the hell do I go? Because I felt like Bobby kind of got cooked in the final minutes on the defensive end, so that kind of hurt us. I'll give it to Malik Beasley. Obviously, he missed a couple at the end, but do like to see him kind of sticking up for Giannis. I like that team camaraderie that you see out of that, bumping Colin Sexton when he really didn't have much to talk about. Like, why was he talking crap? Why was he talking mess to Giannis after he made a floater? Like, come on, dog. Like, and yeah, you had a good first half, but where were you the next half? So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll give it to Malik Beasley for just kind of. It feels like he's bought in, and I'm glad that he's here for some reasons. Obviously, just shooting the ball.
Yeah, I don't know how y'all be giving it to the Bucks when they lose. You know me, you got to win to get in. I'm gonna give it to, I'm actually gonna give it to the Utah crowd tonight. If you watch the game, right, and you listen to the game and those big momentum plays that took place, when Colin Sexton's issue, when he got into it, from the threes that went down, from just that place on a Sunday night in Utah. That basketball team is a game. What are they? Game under 5. They're 25-26 with the win, right? I don't know if they just bored out in Utah. They got nothing to do. But again, it could have just been it was the Milwaukee Bucks coming into town. But the Utah Jazz are 10th right now, battling with the Houston Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. Just not just to be squarely in the play-in, but just to have to be the last seed of the play-in. That's what they're battling. And I guess they're only 2 games out of 8 at that point. But Utah, that place was rocking tonight. There were a couple calls that took place where, I mean, there, how guys, you shoot the ball and then, somebody dunk it after on a rebound or something. The crowd didn't even hear the whistle blow. Like, that's how loud it was. They cheering after a foul's being called for a dunk being put in because they couldn't hear it. And so I just thought that crowd, they were, it sounded, I don't want to say it's a playoff atmosphere. I didn't go that far, Bucks on a back-to-back, but it sounded very loud in here. I was listening to the Utah broadcast, and I thought they were kind of homery, but I thought they did a real good job. And also the thing that I just hate, it seems like the Bucks got to get their I've talked about this before. The Bucks got to get their announcing crew set because Marcus Johnson, again, he's an older guy, and he's missed like half the games this year. Like I just can't watch Steve Novak. I don't like Steve Novak. So I can't watch it. Hikage,
Maga Steve.
Yeah, well,
Maga Steve with all that.
I ain't gonna go into it, but man, watch out them libraries, Steve.
Hey, he's books. Steve's scared of books.
Right? Yeah. Move to Florida for all that. Hikage says, if you trash talk Dame, you don't understand basketball. So Hikage, okay. I'm just stop there for a second.
Can he read?
Do you well? This is my question. When you say trash talk Dame, what do you want me to call? Because this is my issue with the Damian Lillard stands. What do you want me to call a guy that is not just a regular guy, but a superstar that puts up 12 points, no rebounds, 6 assists, and goes 5 of 18 and 1 of 8 from 3. What do you want me to talk? How do you want me to talk positively about the game that Damian Lillard had? And by the way, he missed the free throws. So he's 1 for 2 from the line. How do you want me to talk positively about what he did tonight? That's my question back to you, Heike. So if you want to stay here and we'll do our look around, and if you want to come back and answer that, that'd be great, because I don't. Am I missing something? Like, how do we? What positive spin do I give that? And again, we've already went through Heike. So I don't know if this is your first time commenting. So I don't know if one of the things we talked about already is the amount of excuses that Damian Lillard gets. And he's been given, and really I don't know that Damian Lillard is making all these excuses, but his fans and his stands, y'all make these excuses for him. So I'm not even putting that on him, because I haven't heard him say it. Everybody's made a bunch of excuses for him, and at the end of the day, you've got to play better. And tonight was another night that he didn't. We'll give him all the flowers when he does. Like last night, excellent. Tonight, very bad. Like, it wasn't just meh, it wasn't okay. Tonight was bad. Like, objectively, he was bad. Heike said, and this is Heike says he creates space for Giannis. Yeah, he does. We nobody's disagreeing with that. But dog, Heike, nobody brought a superstar in to just create space for Giannis. That ain't like, do you just bring people? You know what? We got we're gonna ship out Drew Holiday. We're gonna have our defense look like ass. We're gonna get a guy who can't stop a cold or a nosebleed. And you know what's gonna be his redeeming quality? He's gonna open up space for Giannis. No, he's Dame time, dog. Like, what are you talking about? Like, nobody brought it. We brought him in to. He done tapped the watch one time this year. No, I brought him in to tap watches. I can't even wear my rollie on the damn show, because I ain't tapping nothing. No. I didn't bring him in to create space for y'all. That's a lie. That is some loser stuff from Heikens right there. You don't bring nobody in to create space. Here's the thing. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. You're saying if you trash talk Dame, you don't understand basketball. Well, I'm telling you that what are your thoughts? You must not think Damian Lillard is good. You must think he's ass. I don't. I think Damian Lillard is a very good top 75 player. That's what I ain't never heard a top 75 player and they best traded. Well, you know what? He gonna create space. That's what he gonna do. We get top 75. You ever heard somebody getting top 75 being a Hall of Fame space creator? You ever heard of that? Come on, man. Y'all get on nerves, man.
If anything, a space creator, that might keep you on a team. Might keep you on a roster. Because there's 15 spots, right? So you might keep the 14th man and be like, well, look, worst case scenario, he's going to create space for other people to cook, right? But I'm sorry. I'm laughing, but
yeah.
What are we dealing with?
We're still getting comments about how we need to chill out and we're on a back-to-back. Like, it's not that, and honestly, I don't think we've been unfair to the Bucks tonight. I think we recognize that, but all season we've been, we will actually give our constructive criticism and our hardest criticism when it's March and April and we need to be playing our best ball. But tonight, I don't feel like we're too unfair to the Bucks.
No. And again. So Heike, again, I think you're right, Chris. I'm not unfair to the Bucks at all, because the majority of them had good nights, and it's not about. We're not talking about just running out of gas. We're talking about one guy who didn't run out of gas. He never filled his tank up tonight. He came into the game on E. He was like, say, what I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna call spade. James was trash tonight. Yeah, right. You say Crutchman said, guys sat too. Yeah, that's not we're not even really talking about the end result. Again, tonight was about the poor play of Damian Lillard. And again, so he says it's not the back-to-back. Dame didn't play a good game, and most of the shots he took didn't fall. But again, that's a majority of nights. How many times do we come in here? If you've been watching this show, come back. Hey, come on in the room when we do this show Tuesday. And again, hopefully he plays better. But then we'll do this show we've been doing this show every single night, right? We do this show every single night that the Bucks play. And how many times do we come here and say, the opposing guard outplayed Damian Lillard? Didn't we just do Denver? Did we just play Denver? Didn't Jamal Murray just outplay every night? We come in here every night and go, well, did we just see who was it, Anthony Simons? Did you just see out every night we come in here and we go, the opposing guard outplayed Damian Lillard? I'm not hating. I'm not talking trash. This is objective. This, like, people think do you think we want Dame not to play well? I want to come in here and talk about how well Damian Lillard played and how the Bucks are going to beat the brakes off everybody and go to a championship. That's what I love to talk about. I don't want to talk about Damian Lillard shooting this poorly from the field. I don't want to talk about how yet another sub-tier guard has outplayed Damian Lillard. I just saw Donovan Mitchell do it in Cleveland. I saw Jalen Brunson. Every time we go down a list of guys
Marcus
that
Sasser
every
in
night,
Detroit.
every night, man. Like this is not a like this is like you're killing me, man. I'm just watching this every single night and I see it happen. And I'm calling it out as I see it happen. And that's what we're doing. We're not on this pace to just call out Dame. And again, and Dane here says Giannis shows up every night, passes the ball right. And that's why I don't have to do it to Giannis. And again, if he was stinking it up, I'd do it to him too. But he doesn't. So that's that, so anyway, we got off the rails there for a second. Let's wrap this thing up, do some and go around the league tonight. The Bucks lose, and of course, 123-108 to the Jazz. The Magic get a win, 111-99 over the Pistons. The Suns beat the Wizards. Clippers beat the Heat. Heat at 26-24. Pacers beat the Hornets. Celtics blow out the Grizzlies. The Thunder, I think, came back from down big to beat the Raptors tonight. The Timberwolves 111-90 over the Rockets, and then the Denver Nuggets 112-103 get the victory over the Portland Trailblazers. Big news out of the NBA tonight was that Joel Embiid will require surgery. They have not done a timetable for how long he's going to be out. This obviously impacts what's going to happen out east. I thought we were probably looking at a shorter absence from him, but the only thing I was saying, again, I'll keep it short on Philadelphia is, man, I mean, I feel for the fans out in Philly. And so we've had people come in the chat talking about trading Damian Lillard. If I'm the Philadelphia 76ers in the offseason, the guy I'm looking to trade is Joel Embiid. And I don't say that being facetious or anything. I mean, JT, what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Every year is Joel Embiid. He's gonna be hurt. So again, I think you can get a haul for him this year. He probably would have won MVP if he continued to play. But he did get injured this year. And again, we'll see. They're saying they haven't ruled out that he may be able to come back at some point. But even if he comes back, he's not gonna be 100%. It's pointless. Again, I would trade Joel Embiid at the end of this season. I don't want to say you want to build around Tyrese Maxey, but I think you get an absolute haul if you're Philadelphia and you just start this thing over. And I said this on Twitter, and somebody was like, "Well, do you think the fans would go for it?" But they went for like 5 years of tanking and didn't get out of the second round. Like that's what that fan base wouldn't they trust the process? The process got them to the second round of the NBA playoffs. And so yeah, I think they absolutely would be okay with starting it over. Because again, this was the bat, and again, I hope Joel Embiid, much success, prayers up, T's and P's to him. But this is the basketball, guys. You can't cheat. You can't cheat the game. And that's what the Philadelphia 76ers organization tried to do. They tried to cheat the entire game by tanking. They were a disgrace for doing what they did. It was disgraceful what the Philadelphia 76ers organization did. So do I feel bad for Joel Embiid? Absolutely. Do I feel bad for the Philadelphia 76ers? I do not. This is exactly what they deserve, not to make it out of the second round, to not have a superstar who can hold up. Again, gutted for Joel Embiid. Not his fault at all. I'm not putting it on him. I'm just saying what that organization did was shameful. And again, you reap what you sow. So that's what Philly's getting right now. They're 30-18. Everybody talk about Nick Nurse. Yeah, well, he's gonna have to find a way to do it with Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris and Pat Beverly. See what Pat Beverly now he can show up that 30 he used to get in high school.
Yeah, Sam Hinkle's words haunting the 76ers once again, and it will forever. At this point, the process is flawed, right? You can say trust the process, but the process is flawed, so you can't trust nothing. And the reality of it is that Embiid has now torn the same meniscus 2 times since 2017. This is the second time as well, right? So, yeah, if you're going to move on off of him here, the 76ers, this is the offseason to do it, right? Once he gets cleared and once he gets healthy, this is certainly when you do it, because I think as age creeps up and the way he plays, these injuries aren't going anywhere. And I don't think you're going to see another season where I don't think you're going to see a single season where he plays over 65 games from here on out.
Yeah, and who knows if he's able to recover and become the same player that he was at the start of this season, and he's been hooping. Yeah, it's just tough. It's unfortunate for the Philly fans, but they've had some success in football at least, so maybe they just they pay more attention to that, and in baseball as well with the Phillies. So maybe they just pay more attention towards those two teams and wait a little bit for the rebuild, because I do think Tyrese Maxey is a good guy to kind of build around, and he's still really young.
Yeah, he is young. I do think, again, right now, I think he's a 2. He made that jump from a 3 to 2. I don't think he made the jump from a 2 to 1, but maybe he will in time. What is Tyrese Maxey, like 23? He's 24?
Yeah, 23, 24, something
Yeah,
like
he's
that.
23. So I think there's still a chance that he becomes a very impactful player. He is an impactful player, but he becomes a star in this league. We'll see if that happens for him. But right now, just not there yet.
Real quick side note, you remember how Joel Embiid was supposed to play with Team USA in the playoffs, or in the Olympics? Sorry. So that's something to keep an eye on. Wonder if we'll have the depth at the center spot now. Obviously, we're just head and shoulders better than everyone. We're gonna prove Noah Lyles wrong, man. Look, we're the world champions. All right.
What's your boy? Dre. I just saw Draymond Green on his podcast talking about I wanted to be invited, but but he didn't get invited, so maybe he will get the call now to get to the maybe he'll get the call now to get on Team USA. A couple more comments before we get out of here. Colin Racine says, who's the bigger bust, Ben Simmons or Jamarcus Russell? That's a good question. Ben Simmons or
Jamarcus Russell by far.
Okay.
Because he never produced in the league. Ben Simmons at least produced some in the league.
True.
For a short period of time. Jamarcus Russell, I'll never forget when Lane Kiffin, they gave Jamarcus Russell at the time a DVD, a film study, right? But it was a blank DVD. And they asked him, and he was like, this is all the film cut-ups that you need to watch or whatever. They asked him the next day if he watched it. He was like, oh, I watched the whole thing. Ooh, and it was blank. It had nothing on it. And they knew this dude wasn't watching nothing. Nah,
he pulled his Johnny Manziel, zero film, zero film studied, 0 hours, 0 minutes.
Russell, because of where he was drafted, easily might be one of the biggest busts across every sport in North America.
Bigger than Ryan Leaf?
Honestly, I don't even remember. I haven't looked at Ryan Leaf's numbers, so I really can't. Up there with him, I'll tell you that. Definitely up there with it. At least Ben Simmons was a 3-time All-Star, right? At least he was an All-NBA team too, right? So I'll give him that. That's head and shoulders above the type of player Jamarcus Russell ever was.
Yeah, I would say probably Jamarcus Russell, but just the way Ben Simmons has flamed out and kind of, been in his own head, and the way he's gone out, I think he went out in the worst way.
Yeah, no, he definitely he definitely went out sad. He went out sad. That's the best I can say. Let me see. Jamarcus Russell. I just want to look this up. Jamarcus Russell threw for 4,083 yards in his career. Wow, it's only 2 years in the league. Well, there's 3. 18 touchdowns to 23 interceptions. Ryan Leaf only threw for 3,600 yards, 14 touchdowns, 36 interceptions. So Ryan Leaf, statistically, Jamarcus Russell had a better career than Ryan Leaf. Ryan Leaf was the 2nd overall pick, though, and Jamarcus Russell was a 1. So
what's that Netflix movie? If anybody's still in the chat, you remember the Netflix movie where these idiots was driving around in blindfolds and stuff? Was that Bird Box or whatever that was?
Yeah,
Sandra Bullock or whatever people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ryan Leaf was playing quarterback with the little blindfold. I thought 36.
Mm-hmm.
Golly.
Yeah. What's somebody from the Jets? Sam Darnold when he was seeing ghosts out there. That's how it went. Yeah, so Nick C says this team played better offensively and defensively without Brook. Now they're talking about the whether the Bucks could have used Brook Lopez. I think they absolutely could have. I thought not having Brook was an issue for this basketball team. I know a lot of people are down on Brook. I'm not. I think I think he's definitely missed when he's down on the floor. He does add value. I think his problem is when he gets to shooting, threes, that just getting a little 3 happy. But other than that, I think Brook Lopez has played much better in Doc Rivers' system, to be honest with you. I think he just didn't fit the Adrian Griffin scheme of things. But again, I think he's just been a little bit more sure of himself, and he's got to get worked out in that offensive end. It was a 123 to, oh man, it changed up on me. It was a 123 to 108 loss. The Jazz beat the Bucks tonight. Any final words before we set this thing off? And then the Bucks are back on Tuesday night. I don't know if JT's gonna make that one. It's a 10 p.m. Eastern start, so JT might be on that one,
Oh,
dog.
no. Right, absolutely not, man. But anyway, man, a big week for the Bucks, right? One of the bigger trade deadlines that we've probably seen recently. Definitely watching that. Catch us on Bucks and 60 tomorrow night.
Yeah,
Um,
call out.
T's and Q's. I have no idea when that next show will be. I think in a couple weeks. But man, always here for you guys, and let's hope we can right the ship soon.
Yeah. Just want to say I appreciate everybody showing love, man. It's been fun doing these for you guys, and you guys make our shows better with the comments and all the great input, all the great thoughts. It's been super fun. We got a ton of content coming up. I'll say this trade deadline should be really fun, and just keep notifications on. Tell a friend to tell a friend type thing. That's what Trey says all the time, and we're taking over, baby. Throw your C's up.
C's up. Yeah, absolutely. Tell a friend, like Chris said there. Triple C's Cream City crossover. Back in action again Tuesday night against the Phoenix Suns. After that one, again, trade deadlines coming up. Also, Bucks and 60, like John said, Monday night. So tomorrow night from 6 to 7, we'll have a Bucks and 60 on 97.3 the game in Milwaukee, 97.3 the game. And I believe it's also on 1070 in Madison. So 97.3 the game in Milwaukee, 1070 in Madison. And then as well on the iHeartRadio app, we will be live from 6 to 7 Central, 7 to 8 Eastern, Bucks and 60. Talking about all your T's and Q's. And of course, you got the unanimous decision. Stow your trade tables, baby.
Yes,
the unanimous decision covering Chris King, the one on the Chris King covering the Dayton Flyers. And as always, get your slips in on Deron Holmes. So, Chris doing a great job on the Dayton coverage. And again, we like Chris said, I echo all that. Appreciate everybody tuning in. All the likes, the follows, the subscriptions mean a lot to us. Continue doing it. And yeah, we appreciate it. JT, you want to say something else?
No, I was just going to say, yeah, you know what, man, and appreciate you guys. You know why? Because we are not a Bucks post-game show. We are the Cream City Media Group.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, man, I want to definitely bring you guys content. Got a lot of good stuff coming for you. One time for Chris King, man. Chris King going full on Stephen A. with the Dayton Flyers post-game show. I think it is absolutely awesome. And, man, tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Man, get it off your chest, guys. Definitely. Feel free to communicate with us. I'm sure somebody, probably not me, somebody a little more social media savvy, will be responding to your tweets, your likes, and so on and so forth. But we definitely appreciate all of you. So, man, been a long week for Bucks Nation, right? It's been a long week. But, we'll get through it.
Well said. As JT said, this has been a Cream City Media Group production from the Guru, Trey Crosby III.
JT.
Chris King.
Hey, man, don't take no wood nickels. We'll see you guys Tuesday. We'll see you Monday night, and we'll see you again Tuesday night for the post game. Don't take no wood nickels. Courage.